Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to talk a little bit about some more Sleep Token. I recently did a tier list on Sundowning, which, while I love the album, I don't think it's as good as their follow-up album, This Place Will Become Your Tomb. So, to kind of build up to the release of their next album, Take Me Back to Eden, that's coming out in a couple weeks, I decided what I want to do is go through This Place Will Become Your Tomb song by song and do, I guess, a reaction slash analysis to it. So to kind of introduce people to the band, maybe. I'm not an expert on music or anything, but I do feel like I have a lot to say about this album for the way that it approaches tone, the message it's trying to convey, and I think it's just a masterclass in tension and keeping things heavy while being enjoyable to listen to, I guess. It's not overly, I guess, depressing, even though the subject matter kind of is. But today, I want to start with the very first song on this album, Atlantic. So I'll be watching the visualizer here. So there'll be something to watch while we listen to it. So I'll go ahead and get it started here. Wow. So I'm going to pause here for just a second. This is the first thing we hear on this album. And it's this just beautiful, lonely piano descending little melody. And with this visualizer, we can see it's kind of setting the tone. For right now, it's pretty calm, but we'll see what happens as the song goes on.
Call me when they bury bodies underwater. It's blue light over murder for me. Crumble like a temple built from future daughters to wasteland when the oceans recede.
Basil's voice is just
Mary in the morning, early your bitter father. It's easier to try not to eat. So flood me like Atlantic, bandage up the trenches, anything to get me to sleep.
man. So Vessel is just something else. I know I keep saying it. He basically is the band. If you don't know kind of how they write their music, he definitely heads everything up. I'm sure that he wrote this piano track that goes along. He might even play it while he sings it. I'm not really sure, but either way, man, he really, just the way he enunciates, the care he puts into every syllable, every bit of every song is just unlike really any other singer I think I've ever heard. Obviously, there's singers that are out there that might have like a higher like range in terms of octaves. You know, they might go higher and lower, but there's just something about the deliberateness of his vocals and how he can play with like going into his head voice here, or like I guess what some people call falsetto. I don't think it's really falsetto, but don't crucify me if you are better at like vocal analysis than me. But he really throws his voice around, and the vibrato, kind of the whispery way he ends, man, it just gives you this sense that there's some sort of desperation in this song. That's just kind of what I feel is immediately just desperation, and just kind of hear that like head voice flip. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
So flood me like Atlantic, bandage up the trenches,
just like he holds it, and you can hear the P at the end. It's just it's a little bit of like wave sound in the background, just very faintly.
Oh, come surrounding, eyes like frozen planets, just orbiting the vacuum I am. And they talk me through the damage, consequence, and how it's a pain they know they don't understand.
So you may not really notice. So obviously we're going through the same kind of melody again. But the song is evolving very slightly at this point. You can hear in the background, I know I said it just a few seconds ago, you can kind of hear this like rushing wave sound. That's adding to what we're seeing, to what we're hearing. And it sounds like there is like a pad or a synth or something that has come into the background. So it's not just the piano again. And even if it's something that you don't actively notice, it helps to cut down on the repetitiveness of what's going on. Because we're 2 minutes into the song, and we've basically had like one vocal idea, one piano idea, with like a little transition with a few chords in between. But it stays sounding fresh because of the way they produce this. So keep your ear open for that, I guess, as we keep going, because you might hear other stuff start to get added into the back, especially if you're wearing headphones. Like, you're not going to hear that wave rushing sound necessarily unless you're really listening for it. But I guarantee you there's somewhere in your brain where it's going to tickle your brain and you do notice it.
Sobbing as they turn to statues at the bedside. I'm trying not to crush into sand. So flood me like Atlantic, where the meets and nothing. Wash away the blood on my hands.
So we're getting some different chords here. Let me get this really nice. It's the same descending idea, but now it's voiced differently. Got this like synth that's sliding all around. Yep. And then we just out of nowhere, there it is. I hate to stop it there, but I do want to bring something up that I feel like is intentional about what we just heard, and I might go back and let us listen to it one more time. Whenever Vessel starts to do his vocalizations, after the main melody is done, and he's just kind of like going up into that head voice, and you're like that, you know, that kind of stuff. That paired with when the synth comes in and we get the like where it hits the note and it slides up, I swear this is supposed to imitate like a whale or something. Like whale song, right? Maybe I'm crazy. But to me, that's what I think is trying to be expressed here. I really do feel, obviously with the song name Atlantic and the visualizer, we have a very strong theme of water. So it would make sense for there to be some kind of sea creature motif going on as well, which in their artwork there definitely is. But to me, that part really does sound like he's trying to sound like a whale or something, which is wild, but it works if that's what he's going for. I definitely picked up on it. So I'm going to back up a little bit and see if you can hear what I'm talking about. This part right here. Where this goes. It's just... You know you're in for something. It's just building to something. It's been like 3 minutes of build. They just out of nowhere. Yeah. That drum fill though, oh my god, it's just so nasty. So obviously it's been really intimate, and then it opens up, and we get just driving guitars. We get these nasty drum fills over like a just pretty straightforward beat, to be honest with you. But the thing that's really interesting is we have not changed our musical idea. We are still just on this descending scale, essentially, but it's been given new life by the way that the instrumentation has changed. And of course, you hear that if you're, into metal or something, you're like that just goes. It goes hard. I don't know how else to say it, right? It's exciting. It's a new change. And it kind of brings an intensity to this song that's, this is kind of classic Sleep Token, to be honest with you, to take something and build it. Now, usually there's more of a build, so this is a little bit out of what they have done on Sundowning. It doesn't usually just come out of nowhere. Usually there is a really big build, but this is a pretty drastic change, even from the synth build that we had. But either way, man, I love it when it gets here. It's just so hype every time it comes on. It's just the same intro vocals too. So we've just faded back into this. I mean, you can hear the same piano riff going on in the background, but we've changed. The vocals have changed a little bit. And we're basically in the fade out of the song at this point, but just, I guess, keep an ear out for all the changes that are going on in the background, how we're fading to nothing here.
Don't you
And then we just get the fade out. So what an incredible song, incredible opener. I think anybody who doesn't know what Sleep Token's about, if you listen to Atlantic, I think you get a nice idea of what the band can do. You've got your soft moments with the atmospheric moments with just the piano and the vocalist that build with the synths, and then of course you see that they can bring the heat when they need to. You get this incredible drum performance with the guitar in the background. It's very exciting, while keeping the tone really dark, I guess is the way that I would describe this. It's this just melancholy descending pattern through the whole song. It's nearly 5 minutes long, and it really doesn't change its main melody the entire time, which is wild to me that doesn't get old. But it's because of the way that the production is done that this makes sense, and works the way it does. And that's kind of the main draw of Sleep Token to me. I did want to take a look at the lyrics here as well, because I think that this song has some incredible lyrics as well. So I'll make it a little bit bigger for us. So you can mostly understand Vessel. He definitely has some intricacies in his vibrato that maybe can sometimes make him hard to understand. But more important than the lyrics themselves are what he's trying to convey, which I think he does very well through the music as well. But this song, if you look into the lyrics, really just makes me think that we're dealing with someone in probably the darkest place they've ever been. It almost seems like he's contemplating, murder here. He says this blue light over murder for me. And this blue light is kind of interesting because it gives us the visuals of being underwater. But I've also seen some theories that in the UK, the paramedics, when they come out, the ambulances flash these blue lights. So I'm thinking that we have kind of a double meaning with this here, because obviously the main metaphor here is oceans being flooded, something like that, right? And we have some really disturbing moments of neglect to himself here. Easier to try not to eat. Flood me like Atlantic. Bandage up the trenches. Anything to get me to sleep. I think these first two verses here, in my opinion, are definitely conjuring ideas of like a suicide attempt, which is really sad to think about. Bandage up the trenches, you know, you can kind of liken that to maybe like cut marks or something like that. Maybe even the water injury could be like alluding to a bathtub or something, right? This is what it gives me the image of in my mind. And obviously sleep can a lot of times be an allegory for death as well, right? You're not dead, you're just asleep. And this all seems like it's just desperation here, wanting to get away from whatever situation you're in. And I think that this becomes more apparent that this might be what's happening whenever we get to the second verse, right? So things pick up a little bit. We get some more ideas coming in. Almost like Vessel is less alone, which I think, based on the lyrics, that might be an accurate interpretation, because he says he wakes up surrounded, eyes like frozen planets, just orbiting the vacuum I am. This emptiness, right, that needs to be flooded, I guess, is the idea of this song. This talking through the damage, they know it's a pain they don't understand. This all alludes to waking up in the hospital to me. Like it's maybe a failed attempt at suicide here. Sobbing as they turn to statues at the bedside. It's pretty explicit. Trying not to crush into sand. Ugh. Wash away the blood on my hands. This is obviously heavily metaphorical here, but I think it does paint a very interesting picture of self-harm and the fallout from it, where now I guess all your friends and family know. They're watching you. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how they can help you. And you're stuck there, just trying not to fall apart. And still, somewhere in the back of your mind, we still have this motif of flood me like Atlantic. But now, wash away the blood on my hands. Could be his own blood. Maybe there's something that has caused him to get to this point. And it just seems like an attempt to try to, I guess, recede into himself in some ways. We've got this "don't wake me up" repeated at the end. So this is a heavy song. Lyrically, thematically, almost like the entire weight of the ocean, right, on this one person. It's very interesting to me to see these themes, these very real emotional themes, tied up in this singular idea of water sinking, even, which I'll talk about more in the coming songs on this album. I think the main theme of this album is just sinking, which you may have noticed on the visualizer, maybe not. There is a depth marker right here. So we'll see how that progresses as we go through the visualizers to maybe see if I'm correct about this theory. It is something I do want to check out. But that is Atlantic. Incredible song. I'm excited to get to the rest of the album because, you know, I think it only gets better from here. Although this might be my favorite album opener I've ever heard to set the tone. So I'll see you in the next one where we hit Hypnosis, song number 2.